Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 35 of Pro Football Focus, the Sidney Jones episode. I'm Hunter. With me, as always, is Jake, except for
Hello.
those two. And almost not this time because he was sleeping in.
Yeah, I took a little nappy poo, I'm not going to lie. But, I'm here, and the best ability is availability, so.
Yeah, that's true. We almost thought we were going to have to skip it because we definitely weren't doing it with two, that's for sure. So, yeah, welcome. Had a hot week of spicy playoff football action, so we're probably just going to jump right in and talk about that.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Well, since Austin has ties to one of the games, I think we should probably start with the Packers game.
Yeah. The Packers-Rams game was definitely a good one. Aaron Donald was banged up like we thought, and he didn't really do much. It was kind of – I think the entire first half he only had like one tackle, and then they kind of pulled him out of the game, and you could see him crying there at the end. But Green Bay ended up winning that one 32-18. And Aaron Rodgers, he showed up in the snow just like we anticipated. It wasn't really snowing, but it was cold. Jared Goff was not playing his best football. And
So do we have confirmed what is wrong with Aaron Donald?
He has like broken rib cartilage.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Drew Brees had 11 broken ribs?
Yeah.
Is Drew Brees tougher than Aaron Donald?
Drew Brees ain't playing nose tackle in the NFL,
Hey, listen, I just look at the stats and I go off of that.
Punch him in the rib card. Drew Brees had a flak jacket on, and we'll get to Drew Brees. We'll talk about him. God rest his soul.
Yeah. So
the Rams are out, but they're going to be good next year. I don't think they're losing many people.
You say the Rams are going to be good next year because they're not losing many people?
Yes, that is what I said. Was my little microphone not close enough to my mouth?
Well, Jared Goff is playing like Dookie.
Yeah, Jay Goff.
Well, yeah, he's hurt. It's cold. You can't blame him, man.
I think Sean McVay is kind of being kind of cryptic about Jared Goff. It sounds like there's a little trouble in paradise from what I've read.
Yeah.
Do you think they will try to pick up Desean Watson?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the cap space for that. But that could be a fun discussion where we think Deshaun's going to go for a little later.
Yeah.
It'd be sweet if he went to the Patriots.
That's definitely a possibility. But I'm glad that the Rams lost because now we know that the Jags have picked 25 in the draft, which is cool. Disappointed that Jalen couldn't, extend further into the playoffs. Kind of interesting that he got further in the playoffs as a Jaguar than as a Ram, but hey, who am I to talk?
Yeah, and oh man, the Packers overall, they looked pretty fucking good in that game. But then again, I don't think the Rams were the strongest playoff team necessarily.
No.
But the Green Bay, the offense is definitely clicking. Devontae Adams looked unstoppable. Well, he's just do we want to get into Devontae Adams right now?
We will, but before we do that, I just want to say that I think it kind of seems like Sean McVay came into the NFL as this offensive genius. Nobody knows what's going on. He memorizes every single play he's ever done. You can walk up to Sean McVay and be like, "Hey, remember that drive from 12 years ago?" And he'll tell you the hash mark they were on. He'll tell you everything about the play.
Yeah.
I think people have maybe found out or kind of discovered Sean McVay's 3-slot receiver gadget offense a little bit, and it kind of seems like it's shit in the bed a little bit.
Every now and then the wide receiver gets an end around.
Yeah,
single formation.
If the defense can't perform, I don't think that offense is equipped to put points on the board.
I absolutely agree.
But then again, I would like to see that offense with a better quarterback than Jared Goff because we don't really know. I've never felt strongly about Jared Goff. I feel like he's always been kind of middle of the pack. Matt
Jared-
LaFleur is a McVay understudy, and he just kind of went to the Packers with Aaron fucking Rodgers. It is
Well,
one of the greatest of all time.
I don't think Jared Goff is the problem because, as we all know, Jared Goff is just a vessel for Sean McVay.
Oh man, no, I
So-
think
I don't know.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that in the future, but that
All right,
Green
so-
Bay Packers team is the best team in the NFC. I think. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll talk about it later, but I definitely think that Bucks Packers game is going to be spicy.
yeah,
Very
But-
interesting, to say the least.
We have some sins to atone for, kind of, a little bit.
yeah.
So, back in the day,
Like the Da Vinci Code stuff?
no, like we're not going to be like flogging ourselves if that's what we're talking about.
damn. Okay.
But back in the day, early on in the season, we were talking about, I think we were probably talking about like who our top receivers in the NFL were. And Austin, when we get to DeAndre Hopkins, he said that he said Devontae Adams was the Kmart version of DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Now, I think part of that is because like last year, Devontae Adams, beginning of the year, everybody's like, this dude's going to be the best wide receiver in football. You take him in fantasy, and then he didn't do anything crazy. This year, on the other hand, he's kind of lived up to all the hype, plus more. So we had a little Twitter exchange. Austin, you were the culprit, so if you want to maybe.
Yeah, honestly, caught a lot of flack for the Kmart DeAndre Hopkins comment. I think in the beginning, I never even really meant that Devontae Adams was bad. I've always kind of said he's early on the season, said he's a top 10 receiver. I've said recently, as when I said that comment, that he's top 5. But I think what I meant by that is they're similar size. DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams don't necessarily have blow you away speed. Like you're never worried about them just ripping off a deep ball from you. But I felt like DeAndre Hopkins just has way better hands. Like he has some of the greatest hands of all time. So to me, whenever we're arguing that top 5 argument, I could never put Devontae Adams above DeAndre Hopkins. But
That's
I
fair.
will say that I do need to put some respect on Devontae Adams' name because he did chop up Jalen Ramsey a few times there. And I think the interesting thing about Devontae Adams' game is he doesn't use his hands at all when he runs routes. It's like he literally lines up and just gives you like a stutter with his feet, and he's either like it's unpredictable. You can't study the film on it. Like Jalen Ramsey, when he plays DeAndre Hopkins, he can look at his routes, look at his tendencies, and kind of study it to try to shut him down. When you play Devontae Adams, it's literally he's like freestyling his routes out there, and Aaron Rodgers is like perfect connection with him. Like I've honestly seen a similar thing in the past with Stevie Johnson and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like Stevie did that, like just ran basketball routes pretty much, like no arm movement, just like straight up juking people out, just trying to get open any way possible. He chopped up Darrelle Revis a few times, even though because Revis was so technical, just like Ramsey, like film study. If he's doing this, he's probably gonna run this route. And you can't do that against Devontae Adams. So I think he's the most unguardable receiver from that standpoint.
Wow.
But like that's what I think. Like if you put like a top corner on him, he's still gonna get his catches because he's just there's no way you can study the film and pick out his tendencies. He's literally freestyling his routes out there.
So just to be clear, are you
Answer your
walking?
question, Hunter? Yes.
Answer my question. What?
Your question earlier, like I cut off. Yes.
What was my question?
If Stevie was a top player under 6 foot.
Oh, that wasn't my question. I was gonna.
maybe 6'2".
my question that got cut off was I was going to ask Austin if he thinks that a fair comp to Devontae Adams would be a velociraptor because he doesn't use his arms. Runs around. But
Velociraptor, T-Rex, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. In J Park 1, they did learn how to open that door in the kitchen. But either way, are you officially walking back the Devontae Adams is Kmart comment?
Yeah, I think, we went on and we were talking about, maybe King Super, maybe, just we gave several grocery stores. They were all pretty high quality. I said even Giant Eagle, Giant Eagle.
Giant Eagle's good.
I mean,
like
they
Giant
got
Eagle.
better produce than Walmart. But, I don't think Devontae Adams should be compared to DeAndre Hopkins anymore. I was wrong for that. He's in a different he's his own guy, and he's a top receiver for sure.
When we post this clip, we're gonna have to @ that guy who called you out.
We'll add him. We'll get him on the show.
Was it Devontae Adams who called you out?
It might have been a Devontae Adams burner account, or it could have.
Shit!
I was also entangled in some side beef on my own, where I was arguing that Diggs is better than Devontae Adams, but that's just my personal opinion as a Bills fan.
I think those are what we call at Bro Football Focus Bills blinders.
Yeah, the BBs.
See, now before we get too far away from it, I think we might be onto something. We could have a segment where we go through Twitter, catch someone, just start beef with them, and then we say that account is an NFL player burner account, and just run with it.
We could call it rotten beef.
Perfect.
Or rancid beef.
Or where'd you get that beef from? Twitter.
Yeah. I just want to read a slight excerpt from the comments, because I thought this was pretty funny. Let's see here. Okay, so basically, I told this guy, his name's Matt Anderson, MB Anderson 83. If you guys need to dox him or something, but I told him he was living rent free, or we were living rent free in his head, because he heard that take and he had to get at us for it. And he said, "Sounds like I'm living rent free in your head for giving an opinion. And if you ever start getting more than 12 views on a video, you better develop thicker skin." So first of all, didn't say in any way that I was butthurt. Also, don't come at the fan base. That's a little fucked up. And the hot beefers are one of the most loyal fan bases in the world. So just for
it may not be the most numerous, but 300 Spartans, they are strong.
Yeah, quality over quantity for sure. So with that, I responded, "All of our fans live rent-free in our heads. We're great on hospitality. I'm not sure how an attempt to understand your opinion gave you insight to the thickness of my skin. But again, either way, we'd love to have you on so you can experience a hot beef injection." And he took offense to that and said,
"He's vegan?
As for any kind of injections, no thanks. I'd be happy to talk football." So he'll come on and talk, but he just doesn't want a hot beef injection, which I don't get.
That's pretty
sweet. That's I think that's a lot of the reason why anybody comes on, is so they can get the injection.
Yeah, the hot beef injection.
I do want to point out with Devontae Adams, though, that he did drop a 36-yard game against the Lions, which supposedly he got hurt in, but ability, whatever. Tampa Bay 61 yards, Minnesota 53 yards, Jacksonville 66 yards, Chicago 60 yards, Carolina 42, Chicago 46, and against the Rams he only had 66 yards and a cheap tutter that PFF said wasn't even a tutter against Jalen Ramsey. But no, he's good. He's talented.
I just got an alert that said our meeting will end in 10 minutes. And we need to upgrade to the Pro to remove the 40-minute time, which I don't understand.
I have an ominous ticker at the top of my Zoom right now, 9:27. 9.
Looks like we're going to do a 10-minute drill on the rest of this episode.
Oh, jeez. Well, we could always just start another one. I don't know what's up with that because we definitely are.
Yeah, that is odd.
I just dealt with that whole thing last episode. But
Yeah, we pretty much beat the hell out of that Packers-Rams game.
yeah, I guess we'll get to that time limit when we get there. So what? Saints Buccaneers?
I will say,
Drew Brees
I
is
think
done?
out of all 4 games, the Packers-Rams was the least entertaining.
That's fair. I mean, it was a spicy. To me, this was a
Still
really
good.
division.
Still good.
I think by far, unequivocally, the least entertaining game was the Bills-Ravens game.
I mean, do you want to hop into that game?
Absolutely.
Okay. First of all, take yourself as a fan of either team out of it. If you just watch that as a football game, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here?
No, I agree because the offense, I mean, the wins were ridiculous.
I was there. The wins were strong.
The wins were absolutely absurd. And so the game was in Buffalo with 15-mile-per-hour winds. They showed the uprights when Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. He's the greatest kicker of all time, the most accurate kicker ever. I don't think he's ever missed 2 field goals at any level.
Well, hit each upright one after the other. And that's why I think this game was very entertaining, is because it was such a weird, you have offenses that are scoring, especially this late in the season, and then it's like nobody's scoring, bouncing off the fucking uprights left and right. And just the look on Justin Tucker's face is like, what? And the second time it happens, he's like, I don't even know. This isn't even me.
Yeah.
I was watching this game in an Applebee's in Orchard Park.
That's why you didn't like it.
That's the Applebee's all the players go to, probably.
Is that the one that Marshawn Lynch was at in that
video?
video?
I think so.
Wait, but yeah, and it watching it seemed like the Bills were just supposed to win.
Yeah.
Because the Bills would fuck up, and the Ravens would get a chance. And that first Ravens drive, didn't they drive it 60 yards running the ball or something? And then they just
no. So I don't feel like the Bills really made any fuck ups. Really, I think the game opened up with 3 Gus Edwards up the middle carries, and then our one defensive tackle Vernon Butler, who I'm not a big fan of, went down with an injury, and our backup defensive tackle Harrison Phillips, who's this big white hoss from Stanford, who's he was learning under Kyle Williams when we drafted him, so he's been kind of a fan favorite, but he's just this big hoss from Stanford, really good football player. He's swim moving the Ravens, getting TFLs. I think him coming in the game was a big part of us. As soon as he came in the game, those runs were stopping. So it was those 3 up the middle of Gus Edwards, and then we kind of shut them down. But I mean, you couldn't get any
fucking pick 6.
The pick 6 was the most exciting moment in football history for me, I think. Just
unfucking real.
Just the stage of the game. I've never jumped out of my seat and freaked out like that in my life. I don't think that was so crazy. That's gonna be a historic Bills moment, equivalent to when James Harrison had that huge pick 6 in the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's a fucking 12-point swing, because they were going to score on that fucking play.
Yeah, I mean, and then so that was Teron Johnson, who I almost wanted to mention him last week when we did our 3 role player game, but I didn't want to have 2 Bills on there with Cole Beasley. But he plays slot corner for us, and we're always blitzing him. He's he kind of reminds me of Tyrann Mathieu in a little bit, because he's so tenacious. We send him off the edge. He runs in there, runs around people, gets sacks. He's a good run stuffing corner, and he's a ball hawk. He picked 6 Big Ben when we played the Steelers earlier this year. And he just he said he knew Lamar loves Mark Andrews in the end zone. So he played a little off coverage to the left, and then dove in real quick, got the pick.
Lamar also threw that in
down.
Quadruple coverage.
No, I think But the thing is, like
Look
Lamar,
at that play. If that Johnson dude wasn't there, I definitely think a Bill in the vicinity would have made a play on that.
I think so too. But I think a lot of Mark Andrews' touchdowns, he's covered up, and he just kind of, it's kind of like he's a huge tight end. You just anticipate he'll get the ball. Lamar didn't like high point it or anything. He just kind of threw a normal pass.
Yeah.
It probably would have got broken up either way.
What's that ominous timer at, Austin?
3:53.
Yeah, 351.
Okay, I'll say one more thing, and then I'm gonna go grab my wallet and try and upgrade this account, see what's going on. But so Austin, seeing that game against a pretty good defense, seeing how the Bills performed offensively and defensively for that matter, are you more worried or less worried about the Chiefs?
I'm very confident heading into the Chiefs because the Bills, I feel like the Colts and the Ravens were the two best teams overall in the AFC playoffs in terms of they both, like, the Colts had a top 10 defense, top 10 offense. The Ravens had like a top 5 offense and like a top 6 or 7 defense. And I feel like those teams are harder to play than a good offense with a mediocre defense or like below average. And
So
the thing is, I would be more worried if Patrick Mahomes didn't get rattled the way he didn't get the concussion protocol thing. Like, I feel like he's not going to be 100% from a practice standpoint. I think he will play, but I think in the playoffs, like, no one plays their best offense. Like, if you look at Patrick Mahomes' stats from the Super Bowl last year, he had 2 picks. Like, he was very average.
all right,
So I
well,
think a defense and a good team coming together like the Bills have, I feel like that's more important than anything.
so speaking about average, I thought you'd be a little bit more worried because the Bills don't have a great run defense, and the Chiefs statistically have the best run defense EPA wise. But if you take Patrick Mahomes' rushes
Less than a
out of
minute.
the equation, they are exactly the middle in rushing EPA.
Interesting.
So I kind of feel like this toe injury for Mahomes and the concussion protocol thing, he's definitely not going to be 100%. So he's probably not going to be busting crazy runs like he does sometimes when he has to. So I don't know.
Well, the thing about the Bills not having a good run defense, I feel like we do have a good run. Like, we just stopped the number 1 overall rushing team in all of pro football and held them to 3 points. And we stopped Jonathan Taylor in the best O line in run blocking in the AFC. And it's just like, I feel like we can stop the Chiefs on the run this time if they play us like they did earlier in the year. The Colts and the Baltimore teams were as complete of teams in the playoffs, like offense and defense and special teams wise. But I think, like, our run defense, if we have to stop the run, like we stopped the number 1 rushing team in Baltimore, like we can hunker down, stop the run. And if we're one of the better passing defenses in the NFL. We have great safeties and Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. Tre'Davious White is playing very good football. Teron Johnson is probably the best slot corner in the NFL right now. Like, after that pick 6, after the Big Ben pick 6, even, like, he's been playing very good. He's blitzing in and getting sacks. Levi Wallace is a very strong corner on the outside. He had a big sack on Lamar. And I just feel like the defense is clicking right now. And also, an interesting tidbit. So we played Kansas City earlier this year, and we lost that game, but we didn't have Matt Milano, who's our middle linebacker, next to Tremaine Edmonds. We run 2 linebackers usually out of a nickel, but when we have Matt Milano this year, we're 12-0. Matt Milano, like, pretty much he held Mark Andrews in check. Like, he used to play safety in college. I think he's the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. and he makes a big difference in the run game. Like he gets in and he makes some big stops, especially against mobile quarterbacks. Like he had some good stops against Lamar. He got his ankles broken on him last year, but that was just Lamar being Lamar. But I think having Matt Milano versus Travis Kelce this time will be a huge help. But to be honest with you, I don't think there's the combination alone of Tyrek Hill and Travis Kelce. I don't think there's any way you can stop that. You just have to like try to slow it down because the Chiefs are just so deadly with all their other weapons too. And their O-line is so good. But I think the Bills are the team to do it. Like, I just feel like they're the closest team in the NFL, like team-wise. They're just all bros. They're so bonded, and I think they're definitely going to give the Chiefs a run for their money.
Yeah, I think it's going to be much closer than a lot of people are assuming it will be.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I love your enthusiasm, but I do think it's just going to be very, very, very hard to cover all those weapons. And luckily for you, I really don't want the Bills to win at all because that continues my streak of having to fucking go to Buffalo and stay in the cold parking lot for 11 straight hours for work. But because I want that probably won't happen. So the Bills will probably go to the Super Bowl.
Hunter standing in the parking lot is for these next 3 weeks or 2 weeks is more painful than all the Bills fans standing in the parking lots for
the past
3 decades.
Yeah.
Hunter, maybe you're good luck for the Bills.
They've been to 4 in a row. Like, they don't need to win one.
I do want to say that I feel like to go up against Andy Reid, the Bills have probably one of the best coaching staffs because Sean McDermott used to be a defensive coach under Andy Reid, and so did our defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier.
So they know how the man works.
They know how he works, but I think he also knows how they work because when we played Kansas City earlier in the year, I think we had a really good game plan for their offense. Like they didn't really pass too much on us, but then they came in there and they were a team. They played football like Kansas City's never played football in the past 3 years. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 200 yards rushing. They just played like smash mouth, run the ball with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's squeaking through there, like plowing people over. But he might not be in this game, and I think he was a huge difference maker in our last matchup. But also, so in terms of like AFC championship experience, Sean McDermott's been to 6 AFC championships or just championship games in general. Brian Daboll, our offensive coordinator, has been to 8. He was under Belichick for a long time. He has a couple Super Bowl rings. And Leslie Frazier, our defensive coordinator, has 4. So I think it's a lot of playoff experience, a lot of good defensive coaches, and I feel like they're going to have a really good game plan for the Chiefs. Like they had one of the most masterful game plans against Baltimore's offense. Like people keep saying Lamar had a stinker of a game, but if you watch the tape, like the Bills defense was playing out of their mind.
Go back in the film vault. Okay.
They're playing crazy football. Like Lamar's looking over this way. The corner delayed the blitz, so you don't even see him coming. And then Levi Wallace screams in there, gets a sack. Like they're covering him up pretty good.
You don't think Andy Reid is gonna draw up something just as good?
I think my opinion will have a strong game plan against them, but Andy Reid will always overcome any game plan. Like he's got too many pieces. Like we might hold them to a surprising amount in the first half, but once you give Andy Reid a fucking clipboard and he can make a dry erase board, he can make some adjustments on the fly. There's no stopping Andy Reid's offense.
There might be a formation where like Travis Kelce is in at quarterback, Patrick Mahomes is the tight end, and then it's just a sweep to Mecole for a touchdown because you're like, what's going on here? What in the world?
Here's another thing. The Chiefs had the number 1 passing offense, I think, and the Bills had the third. But our defense was significantly better, and that's including like the first 8 games where we were banged up on defense and played like shit. But also, I think Patrick Mahomes, I don't think there's going to be any design runs with him for this game. I don't think there's going to be read options or anything where he could get hit, because obviously he is probably in concussion protocol right now. People keep saying it might be a nerve thing, but I think he's definitely in the protocol, and he probably is. Like, he was wobbling getting up like he got knocked out. Like, he's
How
probably,
mad would you be if Patrick Mahomes didn't play and Chad Henne beat the Bills?
I'd be pissed because Chad Henne used to play for the Dolphins back in the day, and he was trash. And I don't understand how he made that run against the Browns on like 3rd and 14, because that man, I think he ran a 4.9 or something 20 years ago. And he was somehow, like, the next gen stats will probably come out that he ran like 25 miles per hour. Because I think the adrenaline of the moment accelerated his body past human limits.
Now, does he still have his sickest stash qualifying stash?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
He should grow a playoff stash, though.
You know what they say, though?
He's got a week.
You know what they say?
No.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, hashtag anything. He should be
Do you
sponsored
think
by
he drinks
Hennessy.
Hennessy on the sideline?
Oh, there you
No.
go.
I think he's a wholesome guy. He's probably not drinking any
No.
booze
So
during the
since we've
playoffs.
pretty much broken down this this Bills Chiefs game, what are your guys? What are your picks?
Well,
There's only
listen,
2 games we can pick them.
we didn't really talk about Saints and Bucks.
I understand, but in order to revisit, like, we would just revisit and just say our scores.
I got the Bills winning by less than a touchdown. But I also want to say that when Justin Tucker was kicking those field goals, the flags on the uprights were blowing 2 different ways, which I've never seen before.
A parking lot attendant was telling me that right back in that, like, the field goal zone, there's like a board back there, and it creates like this wind vortex. So
I've heard a lot of bro science about the Bills Stadium, about how there's like big swirling winds because of how it's built in the middle, and it's impossible to compensate for.
The weird looking stadium.
I saw this thing that like tracks the ball trajectory of a kicker, and both of Tucker's field goals were like dead money for like the first 30 yards, and then they just took like a dramatic swing. So I do think he was on the money, and the winds were fucking crazy. Because the Bills missed 2 field goals too.
There that's just like talking to you, and he's like, "Yeah, actually, the way stadium's built, black hole right in the middle of the uprights."
I've spent a lot of time here. When I'm smoking my cigarettes, I see the I see the smoke twirling around.
You ever hear of an interdimensional wormhole? Yep, there it is. Hunter, what do you got?
It's like the Bermuda Triangle for kicking balls.
Exactly.
I'm going to say 28-24 Bills, because I hope I'm wrong.
Hunter, I respect it.
I'm playing reverse psychology with the ether. It usually
does. That's smart.
Your mic looks like you're holding a little pipe.
Money on it. I'm gonna go. I don't know what the end score is, but I think Chiefs would win by 3 if I'm putting money on it. Who do I want to win? Bills, absolutely.
Oh my god.
I mean, Austin, you know that you may as well call me like Silky Johnson, because I'm the number 1 player hater there is.
That's true.
But I just,
you seem more like an Ashy Larry character to me.
No, I'm not Ashy Larry, Jake.
Oh man.
But okay, so do you want to do the scores for Packers Bucks?
Well, let's
talk about Saints Bucks first.
I mean, let's just talk about the games first, I think.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. We just talked about the Chiefs. Let's go Chiefs, Cleveland, and with Bucks Saints, and then we'll segue into the retirements.
Okay. I do want to say sorry to the Browns fans, because I feel like they had quite an emotional roller coaster.
Quick aside on that Browns fans thing. So, for those of you fans who don't know, I work for the news in my local town of Erie, Pennsylvania. and we're doing a bunch of these super stupid stories about local fans and stuff. And for the 6 o'clock show, we went live in this Browns fan, the biggest Browns fan in Erie. We went live in his basement, okay?
What?
Listen, we got there before the game started. We did a little interview where you're like, hey, how you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. He told us whatever. So it was like a Browns man cave.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a human trafficking basement or something.
No. So keep in mind, he's hopeful, whatever. So we come back, and as soon as we come back, like the Mahomes injury had happened. And right when we're about to go live, everybody in this house is so hopeful. And as soon as we go live, it's the 4th down play where if the Chiefs get the 4th down and get the first down, I mean,
The game's over.
Yeah, they win the game. They can run it out. And if they don't, the Browns get it back and they have a chance. So it was just one play. We go live. This dude's in the background. As soon as we fucking go live, play happens. Chad Henne gets the first down, and you just see in the background all these 4 Browns fans in their house just like, oh. The reporter I was with immediately, because it's her fucking job, had to get in this guy's face and was like, hey, so how you feeling? And he was cool, calm, and collected. He was like, it was a good season, whatever. Takes the mic away. As soon as she takes the mic away, everybody behind her says, oh my fucking God. Ah. And you heard that all on TV.
Wow.
Like,
Andy Reid on that play call pulled his nuts out and stamped them on the foreheads of every Browns fan on the planet, because that's 4th and 1 in your own territory. If you pass the ball, the clock stops, the Browns get it right there, and they're within striking distance to score a go-ahead touchdown. Andy Reid pulls his dick out and says, Chad Henne, go ahead and fucking throw this first down, you back up.
Henne,
and we're gonna go right to the AFC Championship game. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, it was wild. Because especially, I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure the announcer's like, "Oh, they're gonna hurry up and possibly try to spike it here," and it's just like, nope, we're gonna get the play out, and we're gonna fucking just dick on you.
Yeah, the announcer, I think it was Tony
Or
Romo.
he might have
no play.
Sneak.
I think he thought they were just gonna do like a hard count and try to get him off sides to get the first down, but they're like, "Oh, Tyrek is so fucking quick, can't cover him."
Yeah, but so you're right, Jake. Sorry to those Browns fans, because if there was any opportunity, it was when Patrick Mahomes was out. But.
Yeah.
Now, so did you go live? That was the first point you went live, was that play, or were you live before, like a pre and post? Because the way you made it sounded, it was like you guys watched the game in this guy's basement, like the whole game.
Drinking beers, eating snacks.
We had left. We got there before it started. We did a little interview. We got the sound for the package later. But when we were live, it was just that moment in time.
That's awesome.
It wasn't. I felt like an asshole. It was terrible.
I bet you got some good B-roll, though.
I did.
Did you go after and console him? Be like, listen, bro, I'm a Jags fan. And he'll be like, oh, okay, never mind.
Because like the girls I were with, they don't know about football or what they just experienced being Browns fans. Like, it's like hope that they don't think that they should have ever been in the right of having, and then it all just gets swept away in one fell swoop. So they all left me like, oh, sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I left, and I'm just like, guys, you got this far without Odell. Think about next year when he comes back. Come on. Blah, blah. And in my mind, I'm like, they were kind of better without Odell. But
you're just trying to console them.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Stefanski's first year. Come on, guys. Have some hope.
But they would have a segment on the news of like Hunter's sports fandom consoling, where you just have teams as they lose. You just come on and say, listen, again, I'm a Jags fan.
Hunter's consolation point.
Yeah, perfect.
But if you think about it, Jags fans are in the winning situation because they got all the cap room.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it was.
We don't know that yet.
At the end of the day, all the Browns did was fuck themselves out of good draft position by going to the playoffs.
I think it might have been a guy at Advanced Auto Parts, possibly. But I was talking to some random stranger about football, and the Jags got brought up, and I was like, "Watch, next year the Jags are about to be real fucking good." And I was like, "The same thing that happened with the Bucks is gonna happen with the Jags," and they were like, "You think so?" And I was like, "I think so."
Bold take.
Yeah,
Urban Meyer's in town.
And they
Oof.
got all that money, dude.
They got money.
Jake, it could go terribly.
They got all that money.
Would it go as terrible as Drew Brees' last game ever, potentially?
Probably not. I hope not, because that was bad for Drew Brees.
Did you guys
Yeah.
cry? Like all the memes on the internet said?
I wasn't crying, but I definitely felt bad for Drew Brees that he had to go out like that. And so that game was 30-20. Bucks beat the Saints. And after the Saints had beat them twice in the regular season, postseason, Tom Brady came in just like we thought. But I think the story of the game was really Drew Brees threw 3 picks, and that had a big turning point of the game.
Now, if Big Ben retires, do you feel worse for Big Ben or for Drew
No.
Brees?
I feel like Drew Brees is
Brees.
Yeah. Drew Brees is a good guy. Big Ben, he's kind of a scumbag, but he got his during his time.
I mean, like, besides Drew Brees not understanding like the whole flag thing, and Drew Brees is an old white, that's not necessarily his fault. And Mike Thomas and the boys kind of, helped him out with that one. They're all good.
Yeah.
Like Ben Roethlisberger raped someone, so
yeah.
I mean,
people, I think
I'm saying in the sheer fact of that Big Ben had a horrible last game, debatably last game.
Well, that was Marquise Pouncey's fault, not Big Ben's fault.
Yeah, it's not Big Ben.
And Juju's doing TikToks mid-game. Like, I wouldn't put that on Big Ben. I think that team kind of collapsed.
The thing I feel so crazy about with this game was the Saints are obviously a loaded up roster that could have easily made the Super Bowl. Jameis Winston came in for one trick play and tossed a dime pass to a wide open Traquan Smith for a touchdown. Like, what happens if you pull Drew? Like, Sean Payton could not pull Drew Brees from that game because he loves him so much, and they literally built the franchise of the Saints together after Hurricane Katrina and turned the shittiest situation
Taysom Hill either.
Taysom was out, but like Drew Brees and Sean Payton go back so far, and they took that team over together and kind of had like a huge underdog story from Drew Brees' shoulder popping out and having that horrible injury where he might never play again. Sean Payton took a chance on him with the team right after Hurricane Katrina, and they're in a bad situation. They sucked, and then they went on to win a Super Bowl together. Like, he could not pull Drew Brees from his potentially last game, even though he had a torn rotator cuff in his right shoulder, his wife just said yesterday. And he threw 3 picks, and he obviously couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards. I think if Jameis is in that game, like, he could potentially have won that game, because one of those touchdowns was because Drew Brees threw a pick. They ran it back, and then Tom Brady came right in and just threw a goal line fade to Mike Evans for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's like how 3 picks, one of them leading to 7 points at least, like, it could have been a whole different game if Jameis was in there. But I do feel bad for Drew Brees that that's his last game, but not everyone gets that story ending where you walk out with a Super Bowl ring.
No, at least he has one. But all right, my biggest takeaway from this game and the whole Drew Brees thing. Did you guys see the video of Tom Brady and him after the game, and Tom Brady's throwing his kids passes and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway from this game, Drew Brees' kids are bad. Like, he has bad kids because
like faulty or irresponsible?
Like, they don't behave well in public. Because if you look at the video, like, Drew Brees and Tom Brady are having a grown-up adult conversation, and one of his kids is just laying on the turf, like, flopping around doing stuff. If you go back to last year's Pro Bowl and you watch Drew Brees' sideline interview, his kid's there, and he's doing the same shit. He's just being a bad kid.
Well, maybe they have ADHD, Hunter.
Maybe so. All I know is doesn't seem the Breeze family has a whole lot of discipline.
All I know is I saw his daughter drop about 7 wrestling moves on the one son and just beat his ass. And then the one kid throws Tom Brady the football. Tom drops back and effortlessly throws the football about as far as Drew Brees can physically throw it right now. Perfect dime piece, corner of the end zone, touchdown to Drew Brees' son right in front of Drew Brees. And then he says, "Hey, be nice to your sister." And the kids go, "No, no." And I was like, oh, like that's
Bad.
fucking the greatest quarterback of all time. You just got a touchdown from, and you chirping him. You're being a bad
That's
kid.
what I'm saying. They're not even grateful because they probably have grown up with that forever. But either way,
I wouldn't be surprised if that footage is used at the beginning of a 30 for 30 documentary when Drew Brees' kids are in the NFL one day, though, because those kids are quick. I
and
saw
Tom
them
Brady
running around.
is still in the NFL.
Yeah, 63 years old, throwing slot receiver passes to Drew Brees' one kid.
Yeah, but either
Maybe
way,
for one of the fun games of the week, we can do a, I guess,
NFL
top
kids.
3 worst children of the NFL.
Oh yeah, I mean, it might be all 3 of Drew Brees' kids,
or a top 3 children of NFL players who could potentially make it to the NFL. And like 4 of them are Antonio Cromartie's kids.
Now, speaking of, too many kids and retiring quarterbacks, I didn't realize Philip Rivers had so many goddamn kids.
Yeah.
It's that bolo tie swag, Jake. He celebrates wins with having children.
Yeah.
But
the good Lord wanted him to have a large family.
Jake, do you know NBA YoungBoy has 7 kids and his 7th kid is with Floyd Mayweather's daughter?
I did know that.
Yeah,
but my whole thing is,
I didn't know if
read
it
the
was
statement from the old Philly Rivers, and he's like, and lastly, I'd like to thank my wife and best friend, whatever his wife's name is. He's like, also my children,
my son
Tommy,
Ted,
Billy, Regina, Sarah, Carter, Andrew, Sarah number 2. Like, it's just the whole line continue with kids' names, and I was like, oh my god, oh god.
Yeah.
So I think that's your biggest loss right there. I think you got, even if you're an NFL, you millionaire, but you got to stop at like 5.
Philip delivers potent loads.
What's interesting is Phil Rivers is going on to coach high school football, and I wonder how many of his kids are going to be playing for that team in a couple of years. A
lot.
And he's going to be coaching.
No, boys, I'm not going to show you favors. You're going to have to work just as hard as everybody else on this.
They all have little tiny bolo.
Oh man!
But
I saw a big controversy of Phil Rivers. Is everyone saying, is he a Hall of Famer? Because he had like such a great statistical career, but
no,
he pales in comparison to like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. But those are goats. Like those are some of the best.
See, this is a conversation for another day, but I'm kind of getting tired of the term GOAT. There can't be Drew Brees can't.
I mean, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. If you built a statue of NFL quarterbacks, you put Tom Brady and you put
Austin.
And you put Peyton
the GOAT
Manning.
is the greatest of all time, singular. There's one.
Those are the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
That's not a GOAT then.
All right, well, I'd say Tom Brady is just going off of his career, but I'm saying number 2 is probably Peyton Manning. Number 3 is probably Drew Brees.
You don't think number 2 is like Joe Montana?
No, I don't think Joe Montana was that good.
All right, listen.
Warrior, so we can actually compare these old players to new players.
We need to get Max Geiger to put these guys in the simulator.
We ran the simulation 10,000 times.
Listen, we're getting off topic. The Packers play the Bucks. How are we feeling about that?
I don't think I could pick a more up in the air, could go either way game. If you gave me $1 million to pick 2 different teams that would be just as close. Obviously you could pick 2 bad teams that would be just as close. But like I wouldn't feel safe putting money on either side.
It's a coin flip for you?
I don't even know if it's a coin flip. Maybe it's 100 coin flips.
Or 10,000 coin flips in a simulator.
Yeah. And then do a bell curve and then do a mean of that curve.
For me, this is a game of my head versus my heart because
where does your heart lie?
With the Buccaneers. Here's the thing, though. I
I
like
could agree.
Rodgers a lot. Been watching a lot of Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays and whatnot on the old, the Pat McAfee show.
PMS.
I like Aaron Rodgers. Definitely think he's the MVP. Would think it'd be cool if he won another Super Bowl. But Tom Brady in his own stadium, all that jazz, proven that he can do it without Bill Belichick. I think that would be the better story. But here's what I'm saying. On paper, with the Packers, like, I feel like all they have is Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
And Aaron Jones.
Yeah, but
Aaron
even
Jones is
Aaron
good.
Jones, like, I feel like
He's
Aaron Jones.
reliable.
Who?
He's reliable.
Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think Aaron Jones is ever going to do like an Alvin Kamara type thing or like a Saquon type thing. I think he's just an upper end good running back.
I think
But-
he's better than Saquon.
I don't think he's better than Saquon.
He's better than him this season.
I don't think he's physically better than
True.
him, but I think he's better than him talent-wise. Or
don't
maybe
know.
just behind that O-line, because I have said Saquon's O-line shit.
It is. But okay, no, here's what I'm saying. Packers, I think they're just Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and like on the defense, besides Jair Alexander, I don't know who's amazing on the Packers defense.
Kenny Clark, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith,
Yeah, but they're not like,
Darnell
Yeah.
Savage.
I guess. I don't know. When I think Packers, I think Rodgers, I think Adams. But
I
on the
think their defense is splotchy.
on the Bucks, you got the GOAT. You have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, the emergence of playoff Lenny,
Yeah.
which he's going nuts. You toss
I will
Antonio.
say, I don't know if you can really count Gronk this season as a weapon like he has been, because some games he's been completely non-existent. And especially in the last game, he dropped a Gronk catch.
I think you can still count Gronk because Gronk on the field, even if he's not really catching balls, I think as a distraction, he's still worth it because people are going to be covering Gronk.
As a blocker, like him and George Kittle are Hall of Fame tight end blockers.
Yeah.
Like he right now in that run game, he's an offensive tackle how he blocks. He's so good at blocking.
So you got all those guys on offense. You literally toss Antonio Brown in just for fun, and he's heating up. Who's their tackle? The rookie, Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
He's going crazy. You got Big Ali Marpet out of Hobart going nuts. And then
The best catch of that game was Tyler Johnson, their like 6th-string receiver. And they have Scotty Miller too on top of all those.
So Tom Brady is taking these people and elevating all of them.
Yeah.
And then you flip it on the defense. You got Vita Vea, who might play. He's coming back.
He's coming back.
Carlton Davis, who I think is pretty good.
Really good.
You got
He held
that.
Devontae Adams to really
Yeah.
short game like last time they played.
You got that rookie safety, Antoine Winfield, who is doing good.
Had a pick last game.
Yeah. Is Sean Murphy Bunting
Yep.
good?
The best player on their defense right now,
Devin White.
number 45, Devin White. I think he's the
Yeah.
best linebacker in football right now, and he's so fast and hits
Yeah.
so hard. He's
Devin White is playing out of his mind, and then it helps that you have Levante David right next to him.
He had a pick against Drew Brees, and he also Jared Cook caught a ball, someone forced the fumble. He picked it up and ran that shit like back quite a distance.
Yeah. So I don't know. On paper, if you just like
Jason
the-
Pierre-Paul,
Sue,
and Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Rodgers' rival.
you put the X factors on either side, and I think the Bucs side just really outweighs the Packers side. But on the other hand, something just tells me that the Packers are going to win because I just think Aaron Rodgers has something in him this year.
And
I don't know.
Real quick aside, can you break down what you had just said? Aaron Rodgers' rival, Ndamukong Suh. Was there a specific rivalry between those two?
Ndamukong Suh used to play on the Lions, which are the Packers' division rival, and he had a lot of dirty plays against Aaron Rodgers, a lot of sacks on him. He stomped on his calf one time. He stomped on his a lineman's nuts one time,
Yeah.
and he hates Aaron Rodgers. So
Okay.
like he may not get that many sacks in the regular season, but he will be coming for Aaron Rodgers like a fucking bat out of hell in this game.
That's pretty sweet.
Is it still one game Saturday, one game Sunday?
I know the Bills play Sunday night. Let me look up the Buccaneers Packers game.
Now, how much? We'll just go hypothetical here. But if the Bucks win the Super
Both are
Bowl, how
Sunday.
much credit do you think Bruce Arians will get? Because literally, he had outright just said, like, yeah, sometimes I have to just do nothing and let Tom Brady be the coach.
I mean,
Yeah, I would say hardly any.
listen to that roster Hunter just named off. Like we're gonna Tom Brady.
Well,
will
because there are going to be people out there that frame it as like the team was put together. Like,
I think if
you don't
anything,
think at all? It'll be
Bruce-
like, but
Bruce Arians will be looked at like Phil Jackson was looked at. Like he was a guy. He
even
was
think
there.
so. People look at Phil Jackson as like one of the best NBA coaches of all time.
Well, if you look at him outside of the Bulls, I wouldn't say that. But I think
Still, they do. I'm just saying, like the team did better when like the play calling was out of Bruce Arians' hands this year.
But
Yeah.
my point is, if you think of the Bulls, you think of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. And when you think of the Bucks this year, if they win the Super Bowl, you think of Tom Brady, Devin White, Mike.
now, how many of these guys they picked up, are they all on 1-year contracts?
I mean, the only guys they really added are Brady, Gronk, and Antonio. Everybody else has been on the team.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I guarantee you Gronk will re-sign as long as Tom Brady re-signs.
Yeah, and if they win the
And you guys have already said that you don't think Tom Brady's retiring this year.
No.
he does seem like he has some left in the tank.
He not only has some left in the tank, he like literally said a couple years ago he wants to play till he's 45 at least. And he's 43.
Yeah.
He's not going to stop until he gets Drew Brees and looks like an idiot. Like right now his arm is way stronger than Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees, who both retired, way stronger in Big Ben's.
See, I think Tom Brady's smart enough to where he wouldn't let it get to like noodle arm level. Like as soon as he, at the end of the season, if he knew like it was getting to that point, I think he'd definitely hang it up because he would never want to tarnish that legacy at all.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. He would never make himself look like that. Because think about how bad Drew Brees felt leaving that stadium, like 3 picks, losing a playoff game like that. I think Tom Brady, last year, he threw that pick 6 against the Titans. That was his last play as a Patriot. I think right then I thought maybe he was washed up. But honestly, looking at that Patriots team, and Cam Newton could only throw 4 touchdown passes on the season. It's impressive that he even got them there. And I'm a Tom Brady hater. And I just recognize the greatness that we see there.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But my gut feeling about this game is that I feel like the Bucks will win. Just even though that the Packers have Aaron Rodgers playing MVP level and they got a lot of underrated players. The Bucks beat the shit out of them in the regular season, and now we have playoff Tom Brady. And I do feel like there's somehow, some way he just makes everyone better. I don't know if he's the Patriot way that we heard about all those years, and he's the guy who held all those people together and instilled all that crazy preparation and stuff. But it seems like there's a lot more of that in the Bucks than there was in the Patriots this year.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Bill Belichick fan, so I wouldn't say that lightly.
I think this is going to be the first time that Aaron Rodgers gets a conference championship game at home, though.
That's true. So it's it's a lot on the line for their legacy. Aaron Rodgers has been begging for one to be hosted in Green Bay.
Mm.
And then he finally gets one, but he's got to encounter the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. And Aaron Rodgers did say that the Saints beat the Bucks twice and that didn't matter. So when he's thinking about the Buccaneers kicking the shit out of them in the regular season, that didn't matter. Like they're a different team now.
Yeah, records are 0 in the playoffs.
But I'm how Hunter is like where I have the gut feeling and the thought like the Aaron Rodgers is playing so good, it's hard to pick against him. But I do have the gut feeling that the Bucs will win. Like just like Jake's saying, like I feel like it's a coin flip. I wouldn't bet any money on that game because it's sketchy.
It'll be fun though.
I heard this on Straight Out of Vegas. If you guys are thinking about betting on that Bills game, wait for a little later in the week because rumor has it that line's going up.
Oh my god! Holy shit! I remembered. My life has been a lie, and sports betting. You bringing up the sports betting has made me
Don't do
remember.
it.
Don't
do it.
No. So I had thought at the end of the BetMGM Sportsbook commercial, I had thought he says, "Now you're in the arena with the king of sportsbooks."
Yeah.
And yesterday, I literally had to take my headphones off and just really soak it in. He says, "Now you're in the ring with the king of sportsbooks."
Jake, maybe you just watched that commercial too many times. That's like mind blowing to Jake.
And I was like, I was just been living it. My life was a lie.
Yeah. You're a fraud, Jake.
I absolutely was.
All right, fellas. So scores for this one.
Bucks, I'll say win by 5.
I'm going to say Bucks 37, Packers 28.
Okay. I am going to, again, try and reverse psychology the ether. And I'm going to say...
That's 2 reverses, though. You're going to make them go the way you want.
Yeah.
Ooh. So are you saying I shouldn't?
3 rights make a left.
Dog.
Well, this is only 2.
Yeah.
No, go for what you're saying there, Hunter.
Hey.
All right. So I'm going to say Packers 21, Bucks 14.
Weak ass score, dude. Weak ass score. But would you guys be down to take maybe a peeps break? I think the playmaker of that game, the X factor on the Chiefs defense.
L'Jarius Sneed.
No. Dirty Dan the Silencer Sorensen. Number 49.
Dan the Silencer Sorensen.
Yeah, the white safety they got back there roaming around he had that play where he knocked that Browns player. He hit him so hard in the head that he fumbled out of bounds for a touchback.
So,
He also had a fourth and inches stop and intercepted Tom Brady in the 2018 AFC Championship game. He picked Mayfield last week, and he had that hit. So I think Dirty Dan, the Silencer Sorensen, is a dirty dog.
White safeties, big boom or bust in the NFL. You can either be like a complete game changer or a complete liability. Like you can be like an Eric Weddle. You can be like a Harrison Smith, or you can be like an Andrew Wingard or a Jeff Heath.
Oh, well, I heard Andrew Wingard is good.
He's not. I explained to you that whole thing when that happened.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing about white safeties. They're going to be fundamentally sound, but the athleticism is not always there. But in this case, I think Daniel Sorensen.
Like Troy Apke, he's got the athletics, but
4.3
is
speed.
the game there? Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's kind of a reverse Uno card.
Yeah, Deion Sanders said he was fast, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. When Deion says that about you, that's high praise.
Yeah, when Leon Sandcastle says you're fast, that dude runs 40s back.
Yeah.
But what are we doing next? Twitterverse?
Yeah, let's just do a quick run through, touch on a few of these segments here, and then
Looks
hit
like
the game.
LaRon McClain is having issues with his brain again.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
sad.
That was an hour ago. He said fucking brain is tired, man. Pray for me. Like, this is not good for anyone. SMH. I feel
Yeah.
like we should maybe call the NFL hotline and warn them about.
Yeah.
I've been telling you guys, I have a bad feeling about LeBron.
I mean, yeah, when he does something bad or, tragically ends his life prematurely or something, we can go back to these tapes and we can say we were on LeBron watch and you guys should have been listening to BFF.
I don't want to be the person who didn't do anything, though.
We are doing something right now by bringing light to the issues. So
I'll send some tape to Roger.
Yeah, the blood isn't on our hands.
But anyways,
It's on Javon Belcher's hands.
Hunter sent an interesting tweet here that
The Desean Watson tweet.
this is at PFF Mike, and he says that it's tragically ironic that Desean Watson wants to be traded after the Texans gave up their picks and couldn't build a team around him, because whichever team he goes to will subsequently have given all their picks and be hamstrung to build a team around him. So that is quite the what would you say, conundrum, ironic
Predicament.
Yeah,
A little catch-22.
So with Desean Watson, who do you guys think is viable to trade for him? I
think really the easiest options that jump out at you are the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah, and I just, as a Bills fan, I really don't want that.
Yeah, Jets and Dolphins, I think, are the most likely to happen just because of their quarterback situations and their draft picks and just the ability to put up enough to actually attain Desean Watson.
Yeah, Patriots not much to trade.
Yeah, but I mean, best place, I think, for him, and I can't remember if I talked about this last week on the show or if I was talking about it with people at work, but I think if you put Desean Watson on the 49ers, we would be seeing Chiefs 49ers Super Bowls for the next 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, the 49ers were banged up this year.
That's pretty good take.
Fully healthy, Desean Watson over Jimmy G. Yeah.
Yeah. But dude,
see, I even think there would be a significant bump for the Broncos.
Yeah.
I feel like the Broncos are like one good quarterback away from actually being a serious team.
They have a lot of weapons and their defense was good. And I think Desean Watson makes almost any team that needs a quarterback a playoff contender, because he is a really good. He's with Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, all these guys heading out. Like, he is undoubtedly a top 5 quarterback.
So I don't know if he immediately makes a team a playoff contender, because the Texans obviously aren't.
They were, as soon as Bill O'Brien left, their record went so much better. Their offense was so much better, and they had traded away his best receiver and all that shit.
If you put Watson on the Jets, I don't think they're a playoff contender.
Robert Saleh, that defense, I think, is legit. I think all they need to do, imagine if Robert Saleh gets rid of Frank Gore, gets an actual running back in there, and uses, this is like one of the best wide receiver free agencies of all time, like just depth wise, gets Allen Robinson or somebody. You could easily make a playoff team in 1 year with that team.
A-Rob's coming home.
Hunter, that was beautiful. That was a nice little. I feel like if he does come home, we can go back to that.
Yeah, I hope so.
That song was like, "I'm coming home," and he just goes.
Oh man, but yeah, I do think that the only teams with trade capital that could trade for Desean Watson are the Jets and the Dolphins. I think the Jags could. I don't think the Texans would do that trade though.
No, I would definitely trade one and some other stuff for Watson though. If Deshaun Watson goes to the Bears, they're
bear down,
making it.
Agreed. Making it. The Bears have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and
yeah,
I absolutely think with Deshaun Watson they'd be playoff contender.
I hope he goes to any one of those teams except for the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah, I feel like he'll go to the Jets, sadly.
Robert Saleh, though, he's
because if you are the Texans organization and you're you probably feel slighted by Deshaun Watson at this point. Like he's talking shit on the organization, even though they're the ones in the wrong. Clearly,
Yeah,
being in the
hasn't even like JJ Watt talked shit on like their golden child
Yeah.
has talked shit on
Oh,
him?
yeah,
everyone, even the Texans legends, Andre Johnson has said
yes,
Jack Easterby and the whole
Yeah,
front
so I
office.
mean, at this point, I think Deshaun Watson saying something, they're going to be like, "Wait, what? Now
No,
our
listen,
feelings are hurt."
As the
not what I
Texans
said.
owner once said, you can't
You can't let the inmates run the prison.
let the inmates run the prison.
Yeah,
He
so
Get them
refers
out
to the
of there,
players as inmates.
get some more
Yeah.
inmates in that
So,
abide.
is the Texans organization then the jail?
yes,
I don't know if you guys knew this, but Jack Easterby, the guy everyone's complaining about, is just like, I guess he was.
wasn't he like the team's preacher or something?
Yeah, they said he was. He was just like a team pastor, and he somehow jumped from that role to their like president role. And
Yeah,
he's praying with the owner, who's saying, "You don't let the inmates run the prison."
old.
This Houston Texans owner, and he just like made that immediate jump. They're trade away DeAndre Hopkins. Get rid of Deshaun Watson.
He's literally like the team chef, and he makes like one good meal, and they're like, "Wait a second, you need a position."
I
Yeah.
might put an appy in with the Texans and just start praising the good Lord and see
Fuck
where
it,
I can
dude.
get.
Nobody probably wants that job. But what I was saying was, yeah, could you imagine if Deshaun Watson leaves and they don't have a head coach yet? Like who's going to want to take that job?
Bill's
They're sitting in the office like, "Wait, we have an application. Somebody wants to be the coach."
I think they might hire Bill's defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier because they're interviewing him, and I feel like he would take that job just because he wants to be a head coach and he doesn't really give a fuck how bad
We'll
the
see.
situation is.
But what I was trying to say was, as a clearly in the wrong organization and a shitty organization, I feel like they think Deshaun Watson is being the bad guy here. So they're probably going to want to send him to the stinkiest situation they possibly can,
Yeah,
which is probably the Jets.
I don't know though. They got that.
I think the Jets are a stinkier situation than the Dolphins.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Out of the viable teams, like sending him to the Jets is probably the worst.
That's true. The next tweet on here is Andy Reid said that Bills coach Sean McDermott deserves to be coach of the year, which was my pick for coach of the year when we did the little redo of the offensive awards.
Andy Reid is just being humble.
But I think that's cool because Andy Reid was Sean McDermott's master at one point, you know?
Yeah, so he wants to keep him in the family.
He might just be doing a little fluff and goose.
That's what I'm saying.
pre-PR.
He's being humble. He's fluffing up Sean McDermott, so he's going to come in as the preem chicken, you know?
This other video is just it's Trey White just giving a good hype up to Stephon Diggs, saying he's a Rolls Royce driving, private jet flying, you know, superstar.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I could agree with that. I don't know what he rolls in or flies in, but yeah, he's pretty good.
Where's that Urban Meyer? Or
That's up a little higher, I think.
I saw something with Urban, but I didn't see the one I'm thinking of.
Oh no, I think that one's in the Huffy.
Gotcha. Oh, Jake, you said the Broncos are a quarterback away from being good. I think their defense is a bunch of old people, besides like Bradley Chubb.
I just know from what I've seen is that when Drew Lock did good, and good is, can only be thrown so far with Drew Lock, they were in the games even if they lost. And they did win games. But when he did bad, it was like horrifically bad.
I saw a stat today that said Jerry Jeudy only 57% of the balls thrown his way this year were completable.
Exactly. And he's pretty good. So I
just really like this strength coach guy.
Yeah. So, Jake, I just popped it in so you could see. So, Urban Meyer, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he is doing some hires, and he has hired former Ohio State and NFL linebacker Anthony Schlegel, who will be leaving his radio gig in Columbus to be the strength and conditioning coach in Jacksonville. And
Where's this now?
It's the newest thing in the Joan, is it not?
No, you sent it to the Huffy one again.
Double sent it. All right, Jake, here it comes.
Do you need me to get you a jitterbug phone?
Oh, interesting thing about this guy, he played linebacker at Ohio State.
Yeah. All right, just sent it, Jake. So he worked for Urban Meyer at Ohio State in 2014, and apparently there was a game when a fan stormed the field, and Schlegel just like tackles him in the middle of the field, puts him down.
It looks like he's about to send this dude to the fucking Earth's mantle.
The shadow realm. Like, look at the vein popping out in this Schlegel guy's neck, putting this guy
and he's not even looking at this kid. He is so this boy, like the line from his foot to his shoulder, like this is a prime slam position.
Look at
he is looking directly into the ground. He's
like,
going to bury this kid.
He's reverse RKOing this kid with the visor. I think my favorite part is like the security guard on the field who's just looking like, oh.
Like, all right, so that kid's in boat shoes and he's clearly drunk and ran out there. This Schlegel guy looks like he took some fucking jacked pre-workout. He's fucking in athletic shoes. He's ready. He just wishes somebody would jump on that fucking field so he could lay the goddamn lumber on them.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
We've been watching all the Marvel movies in order, and this is actually some shit that Captain America does. He literally just grabs some motherfuckers and like the ground is about to fucking crunch right there. Yeah, there's going to be a little crater from that slam.
Hunter, can you send that one Photoshop meme of him at the Battle of Iwo Jima?
What?
It's in the Huffy Twitter.
Why don't you send it?
I can't. It won't let me send it for some reason.
Did you send that? I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, it's so funny. Put that in the Jake one.
That is really funny. I hope you guys are popping these in the video.
Yeah, we gotta pop that one in there. But
yeah, I mean, that's all. That is funny.
If you want to establish a culture, you got to get a good strength coach, a fiery guy.
That's why I'm excited about Urban Meyer, is because I don't care if he's already said he's not going to be in charge of X's and O's. He's not going to be really doing any of that. I think he's
just Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah, just Jimmy's and Joe's. He's going to get these free agents in. He's going to rile up the troops, and he's going to be like, hey, this organization is nothing right now. We're going to turn it into something, and you guys are all going to be a part of that, and we're going to do it together as a family, and it's going to be sick. But
do you think everyone's going to be stoked?
I think everybody's going to be stoked.
The players.
But I will say, the moment they lose, it's probably going to look like it's all going to come crumbling down because Urban Meyer's going to be very upset, and he is. Jake, do you understand? Urban Meyer in his first season in the NFL will probably lose more games than he's ever lost in his football coaching career.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Trevor Lawrence, too. Trevor Lawrence has lost 2 games in his career as a football player.
They'll go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. We don't know.
And that's even still considering if he's actually good. He still is going to take the losses. You know? He's going to have to.
That's true. I think this is an interesting Jags tweet. Byron Leftwich, Blaine Gabbert, and Leonard Fournette are headed to the NFC title game against Mercedes Lewis.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Mercedes Lewis is on the Packers. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's good for Jags fans to be able to watch former players, I guess. And they just got to see Yannick on the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, getting tossed around doing nothing. Did you guys watch the video of the slam?
Yeah.
Austin, can you share that one so Jake can see it? He did not need to put that guy down like he did.
No, he was.
No, you have to. No, it's maybe he didn't have to for the situation, but the opportunity, you have to seize that opportunity.
Jake, when you see this video, like he gets him down and then he moves into the neck choke slam.
That's awesome.
It was a beautiful form tackle. He broke it down. He kept his base wide, That
and then he
kid,
drags him off. He's pissed.
yeah, and then he tossed him. He said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, he just squares up. I'm pumped for that guy.
No, that guy is gonna be a culture changer. I was looking at more YouTube videos on him. He invented this blocking pad that you put on
Hell
a
yeah.
rack because
The slow-mo.
he's like in the off season, he's like, it's illegal to work with players on blocking pads in the training arena or like on the field because it's technically like off season workouts. He's like, so I invented this thing. It attaches to a squat rack. He's like, he's like, you could just pop it 1,000. You can get 1,000 reps in real quick. He's like, check it out on blockingpad.com or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really wish he would have just snuck behind and suplexed the kid.
Just really gave him an
Dude,
RKO or something.
Love a good suplex. But yeah, that was awesome. You could tell he's been waiting for that chance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because he's like, finally, he gets out in front, goes straight for it. He's like, I've been practicing this shit.
oh yeah.
A little fan mannequin at home. He's just fucking throwing down.
Big signing for the Jags. This
Do you guys have any final tweets?
this one tweet has PFF has L'Jarius Sneed ranked as the lowest passer rating allowed amongst remaining cornerbacks, which I think I do think he looked pretty good.
Those stats are weird though because they're looking at like 4 teams.
Yeah. And they're also looking at like L'Jarius Sneed, who I don't think is guarded as many crazy guys as Jair Alexander has.
Yeah.
But I do think Jair is a top cornerback for sure.
Remember when we said that Denzel Ward was going to be Tyrek Hill kryptonite?
Yeah, the Browns didn't even really put him on. Like they put him on fucking who's that? Oh, they put him on Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce broke his goddamn ankles.
Yeah, Travis Kelce's just so big. But I don't know that we have any Packers merch or a whoopsie this week.
Let's see. Oh, one more tweet. That PFF has the most targets with only one drop, including the postseason. Allen Robinson is above Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins with 140 or 157. Devontae Adams has 156. DeAndre Hopkins has 154.
So I think it's
Andre has been on the Allen Robinson train since like fucking. It feels like a millennium ago.
I mean, I know he's sick, but then I keep seeing these PFF stats about him, and it's like, how good would this guy be with Desean Watson or like a real quarterback, Trevor Lawrence?
Right. Think about it. But I do think that stat is extremely funny because like 5 weeks ago, that stat would have said most catches without a drop or whatever. And I think they all must have had a drop because now they have to do it with one drop.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. You can really bend stats to say whatever you want.
Yeah. But either way, bring A-Rob home. That's my message.
Wait, I thought we were doing hashtag endorse the Hosses.
No, we're doing hashtag anything is possible and hashtag bring A-Rob home.
Well, I'm sticking with the hashtag endorse the Hosses.
All right.
Until I see fucking Casey Hampton on a Tide commercial.
I see some cogs turning. What just happened, Austin?
Oh, nothing.
No, something's happened. I saw smoke coming out your ears. What are you looking up right now?
Nothing, dude.
Yes, you are.
Are you mad that you were not endorsed as a Hoss?
No, I think I'd be a endorsable Hoss.
You're not trying to slander Allen Robinson in some way, are you?
No, I was looking up some last second Packers merch to see if there's anything.
Oh, okay. That is fair.
I mean, nothing's really striking me as.
I mean, after those hunter green thongs, you really can't beat those.
I mean, this is kind of cool.
What?
I'll throw this in the
Yeah.
episode.
All right. I do think it would be pretty cool if you saw a lady or a guy, if you're into that, wearing the Packers thong and the Aaron Rodgers tiki head.
Yeah.
And the dog bow collar.
One of our
Like,
viewers
what
like,
kinky shit are you into?
One of our viewers is like, I love that segment. Like, that's the only reason I follow you guys.
Can we have
Yeah.
more hairy dudes and thongs with collars on with my favorite team?
So Austin just popped in a pretty stylish floral pattern polo with some like SpongeBob leaves and some flamingos and the Packers logo. And I do think if I was a Packers fan, I would wear that. Although I will say floral prints are a bit 2 years ago. But hey, NFL's still catching up.
That's a
Should
good
I try to convince
summertime
my
shirt.
dad to get that shirt?
Huh?
Should I try to convince my dad to get that shirt? Because he did text me and say, "Where can I find some good Packers merch?"
Oh,
Yeah, I would love to see your dad in that shirt. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. Your dad would look good in that shirt, honestly.
Speaking of your dad,
Sure.
I think next week, since there won't really be any games to look forward to, it'll kind of just be a Super Bowl preview and there won't be a Pro Bowl.
Mhm.
Definitely want to have Bull on if we can, because I want to talk about not only the downfall of the Steelers, but the fact that the way it looks like they're probably going to be just a bad football team for like the next 4 years.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, we'll get Bull on.
Fan favorite guest.
But if I'm not premature here,
I don't think you are.
I think it's the appropriate time to get to this fun game of the week.
Yeah.
Which turns out isn't as hard as we expected. This game of the week is top 3 players of all time under 6 foot, which there's more than I originally thought. So
Yeah, there's a lot.
here we go. It's top 3, I guess, average height, not even short guys.
Yeah. How much did he pay for that mic?
Oh, this was just in like a box of shit that was from the last dude.
Oh, gotcha. I want to get me one of those dinky mics. Or
It's a lavalier mic, just doesn't have a clip.
I know. But like I was saying, I would either like one of those or I want to try and find one of the long old game show mics and only use them.
Totally.
But who's first?
I'll go first this time because I haven't won first in forever. So let's go me, then Austin, then Hunter.
Alrighty.
So my number 3, and I just went players that I've seen play. My number 3 at 5'11", which I'm sure that a lot of guys are out of our list. At 5'11", I'm going to go with Santonio Holmes from the Steelers.
Interesting.
Good receiver. I'm sure all the Steelers fans will probably put him higher than he actually is. But yeah, early on, one of the best receivers that we're playing. 5'11".
Well, I definitely respect that. And yeah, he's definitely one of the greatest receivers of all time. But coming in at number 3 on my list of greatest players under 5 or under 6 feet tall of all time is Barry Sanders. One of the quickest, most agile, running behind one of the worst lines of one of the worst franchises of all time. 2,000-yard rusher, very humble guy, Barry Sanders. Very explosive. A lot of highlights on YouTube.
Yeah, no, Barry Sanders is debatably, or not debatably good at football. So,
And what was that height again?
5'8", I believe Barry is clocking in at. Yeah, 5'8". So
Wow.
he would have made a lot of lists of under certain height marks.
Most definitely. And
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, all 3 of us are taller than him. So that should mean that we are more athletic than him.
how tall is Barry Sanders?
5'8".
Ooh, I think my driver's license says 5'7".
Oh my God. You're an LP, dude.
I have a guy on my list who I'm as tall and or taller than.
Who's
Lay
that?
it on us.
Well, he's my number 1, so I can't tell you.
Okay, well then, give us your number 3.
Okay, my number 3, and I want to preface my list by saying it's kind of mostly newer guys. So I didn't reach into the Barry Sanders vault. So Maybe I wasn't thinking best of all time, but best like in recent memory.
Yeah.
So my number 3, I'm going with Tyrek Hill. Tyrek Hill is 5'10", but not only is he like one of the, if not the fastest player in the NFL, he also can like jump up there and moss people, which I think is extremely impressive for being 5'10".
Yeah, it is very impressive.
Yeah. So that's my 3.
Is it up to me again?
No, it's Jake.
It's back up to me.
Oh.
I'm just kind of scrambling. Right now because
Why are you scrambling?
Well, I'll just give it to you straight.
Do not
Hunter's
do
number
it?
3 was my number 2.
Well, you can still do that. That's okay.
No, you gotta find someone else.
Do you want to take someone from my list? It's a funny one.
No, it's okay. I'll just give an honorable mention at the end. That's a little extra, little tidbit.
Jake, I want you to get as many of Tyrek Hill's muscles from this picture as you can into the graphic.
But yeah, Tyrek Hill, he's fast. He's got good routes. He's aggressive. He's fun. He's he's a little showboaty, but not too much. He can back it up. Has a good social media presence. I like him. Number 2, coming at 5'11".
Coming in at the.
I know he was 5'10".
Wait, so you did it? You did Tyrek?
Yeah. I'm just gonna give an honorable mention just to give a little extra at the end,
Okay.
But yeah, so he's my number 2.
So coming in at number 2 on my list of greatest players of all time under 6 feet tall is the undersized Earl Campbell. So Earl Campbell, 5'11", 230 to 260 pounds, some would argue. Absolute unit, one of the hardest people to tackle of all time. I just picture him just illegally crowning people with his helmet. Well, legally back then. Jerseys being ripped off of him. I heard he has a delicious barbecue rib rub that he sells. So, he was born in 1955, so he's 65 years old. He's probably got arthritis right now, but he makes a hell of a rib rub and one of the greatest running backs of all time. Undersized, only 5'11".
I feel like because you're going with a lot of these like Hall of Fame type veteran dudes, Trench is going to think you have the best list. But
I like the variety in this
Trench
game.
really likes Tyrek Hill, so we'll see.
I think we just have different lists. But my number 2, also a new guy, has no right being on any all-time list because it's only his second year in the NFL. But if we're talking about small players who are just fun to watch, my number 2 is Kyler Murray because he's 5'10" allegedly, but like he might be like 5'7", 5'8". We don't know.
Yeah,
he looks really tiny on the field.
He does look really tiny, and in the picture that I'm going to share, he does look very tiny. But
is it Photoshop? Is he next to Derrick Henry?
No. That would be a fun picture, though.
Definitely.
But I just like him. I think he's small. He's fun. He's like pocket Russell Wilson. I just hope he doesn't get hit a lot in the future because I think his body is tiny and it probably wouldn't absorb them very well.
He has femurs the size of ulnas.
That's fair. Maybe even radials or radiuses or whatever.
Maybe even metatarsals. Tiny.
I just popped a picture in there where he's hanging out with 2 of his O linemen, and I don't know how he sees over those guys.
Take a peek real quick. So, coming in at my number 1. Oh, yeah, my Google Docs is on the fritz right now. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, he's tiny. So, my number 1, who I think is the best player under 6 foot, is Russell Wilson. Because he's pretty darn good.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. When you say Russell, how do you feel when somebody tells you that you're under 6 foot? He says, I feel unlimited.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I think he will be in the Hall of Fame talk.
In the
Yeah,
Hall of Fame talk, huh?
Yes.
maybe Hall of Fame of losers who threw goal line interceptions. But speaking of interceptions, coming in at number 1 on my list of greatest players.
Whoa.
Oh, not were you skipping me over?
It's definitely an Austin's turn.
Yeah. It's
you ruined my setup, bro.
Yeah, you dick.
Coming in at number 1 on my list of
Speaking of
greatest
interceptions.
players of all time under 6 feet tall is Ed Reed. 5'11", has a NFL record of 1,590 interception return yards. Has a 107-yard interception return, which was a record at the time before he broke it himself with a 109-yard interception return. Absolute ball hawk. And I believe, allow me to look at his NFL statistics here. He has a career 64 interceptions. Fucking insane.
That's pretty darn good.
Ed Reed, greatest ball hawk of all time.
That sure is a lot of INTs.
Only 5'11".
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
One of the
Not
most
that many picks at 5'11".
one of the most prematurely gray beards I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe
Now,
that's
considering
like
I'm 1 inch taller than him, I could probably out intercept him because I have like 1 extra inch over his reach. You know.
I don't know about all that, Jake.
I'm just saying. If we both were to stand on the ground and not jump, I might be able to catch it over him.
I think if
And if I'm standing in front of him,
if Ed Reed was 2 feet tall, he would still intercept the ball over you. Because he's Ed Reed, and he's gonna get his.
Yeah, that's a good pick. All right, Hunter, lay it on us.
Well, I'll lay it on you. I'm just trying to find the best possible pick I can to do this guy justice here. So my number 1 pick, Austin might be able to guess, but he is probably my favorite player that I've ever watched play football. It's one of the reasons why I like the team I like. Probably my favorite player of all time. But it's Maurice Jones-Drew.
MJD.
They called him Pocket Hercules back in the day because he was just so tiny, but he was powerful. He could blow people up. Blew Sean Merriman right off his block, just put him on his ass. And he comes in at a whopping 5'7". So I am as tall and or taller as Jones-Drew.
Nice. Is that motivational?
For me, no, not necessarily. I'm not. Nothing I do in life is really like inhibited by my height.
Yeah, I suppose so. And but I guess the same was true for MJD.
Yeah,
I feel like most athletic things will be hindered by your ACL at this point in your life, more so than your height.
Yeah, and I didn't hit that rehab very strong, so it would definitely hinder me.
With that robot leg moving machine from 1943?
Yeah. You ever think that maybe that's why I don't like hiking, because my knee hurts?
You still have that thing?
You got to work it.
That's like a $5,000 machine. We had to return that.
So you guys got any honorable mentions you want to dip in the pot?
I have 2 honorable mentions.
You can just lay them out there.
Well, I have to put a picture in for one of mine.
Austin, what are your honorable mentions?
For players under 6 foot, Troy Polamalu, arguably Drew Brees. People say he's 6 foot. He might be 5'10", 5'11".
Austin, Doug Flutie's not
Lynch.
An honorable mention for you?
I'm not a real big fan of the Flute Meister, to be honest with you. But yeah, Marshawn Lynch. I
think you could even toss Bob Sanders in there.
Yeah, Bob Sanders. That's an interesting one. He was short. If it was a list of people under 5'11" or 5'10", would have been a crazy. Would have been a lot more crazy.
Yeah. My honorable mention is Seattle Seahawks defensive tackle Poona Ford. He is the smallest defensive lineman in the league. I believe he comes in at 5'10 or 5'11. But
Ooh, 5'11.
yeah, I just think that's really impressive that you could be that small and still move people around on the line.
Low man wins.
Do you
Yeah.
see the picture I put in there?
No, but I am looking at him on Google Images.
Look at the picture I popped in.
Ooh,
Do you
Poona.
guys know the name of the shortest player in NFL history?
Darren Sproles.
No.
Austin, do you ever guess?
Brendan Holiday.
It is Jack Emmanuel Soupy Shapiro.
He was 4'10.
Ben Shapiro's
He was 5'1".
Wow.
He played in one game for the Staten Island Stapletons of the National Football League in 1929.
I thought you were going to say the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, if we're going to get silly with our picks here, I think that we could also throw Bull in this list. Because Bull's under 6 feet, and he did play.
Well, Bull's under 6 feet if he doesn't stand up straight. If he actually has good posture, he's like 6'1".
Well, the hump in his neck lowers his head down like 6-7 inches.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was trying to find post-merger short guys.
Yeah, guys who didn't play in the 20s.
Yeah, before when the footballs were made out of human skin. And the tallest player in the NFL was in 1967. 7 feet tall. Richard Sly or Slig.
Oh,
Interesting.
not Ed Too Tall Jones.
No. But
Yeah.
fun episode. Well, I'm excited for this weekend. And maybe next episode we can get the Bullmeister on.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But that would have to be next episode, the Jerome Bettis episode.
36.
Right on.
Jake, why do you have to pierce the veil like that?
Pierce the veil?
Pierce the veil on what?
That's like the number thing. We just say it. We don't say why we say it, except for that one time.
Well,
we'll Photoshop it out.
Now people know.
We will Photoshop the number 36 and we'll superimpose it.
I just noticed that Ed Reed and Earl Campbell have similar gold watches.
Well, we can talk about.
Have you ever seen those two in the same room at the same time?
No.
We can talk about that next time on our Jurley podcast. So,
Jurley.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
And fuck that dude who.
Yeah, that guy's on.